Today, we are going to read a time-honored tale called Stone Soup. And this version of Stone Soup is by Marcia Brown. And what I mean by that is that this story has been told by grandfathers to grandchildren, by mothers to their children. It has been told for hundreds of years. So this is only one version of this story. And how are they going to make stone soup? 3 soldiers trudged down a road in a strange country. They were coming home from the war. They were tired. They were hungry. They had not eaten anything at all in 2 whole days. "Oh, how I would like a good dinner tonight," said the first. "And a bed to sleep in," said the second. "But that's not possible," said the third. On they marched, and suddenly they saw the lights of a village far ahead. Do you see it? "Maybe we'll find something to eat there." Now, when the peasants who lived in that village heard that strangers were coming, what did they do? They hid their food. "Here comes 3 soldiers. Soldiers are always hungry, but we don't have enough for ourselves." And they hurried to hide it, and they pushed the sacks of barley under the hay in their lofts. They lowered buckets of milk down the well. They spread quilts over the carrot bins. They hid the cabbages and potatoes under the bed. They hid all they had to eat. "We don't have enough to share," they said. The 3 soldiers arrived. "Good evening to you," they said. "Could you spare just a bit of food for 3 hungry soldiers?" "Oh, we've had no food ourselves for 3 whole days," said Paul. Francois looked sad. "Oh, it was a bad harvest. We don't have enough. I'm so sorry." And they went knocking on Albert and Louise's door. "Do you have a little bit to spare for 3 hungry soldiers? Or a corner where we could sleep?" "No," said Albert. "We gave all we could spare to other soldiers who came before you." And at the next house, the answer was the same. Bad harvest. All the grain had to be kept for planting time. Oh, they all had good reasons. They all looked very hungry. The villagers stood in the street. They were hungry, and they talked with each other. Then the first soldier called out, "Good people!" And the peasants all drew near. "We are 3 hungry soldiers in a strange land. We've asked you for food, but you have no food. Well then, we will teach you how to make magic stone soup." The peasants stared. This was something to know about. "Well, first we'll need a big iron pot," the soldier said. And the peasants brought the largest pot that they could find. "Look how enormous it is." "Oh, that's not too big," said the soldiers. "It will do. And now we need water to fill it, and we need a fire to heat it." All of the villagers ran to help. It took a lot of buckets to fill that whole pot, and a fire was built in the middle of the village, and the pot was set to boil. And now, if you please, I need 3 round, smooth, clean stones. Well, those were easy enough to find. And the peasants' eyes grew round as they watched the soldiers put the stones into the pot. Splash, splash, splash. Well, any soup needs salt and pepper, said the soldiers. The children ran to fetch the salt and pepper. Stones like these, these usually make very good soup. But, if there were carrots, it would be so much better. I think I might have one or two, said Francoise, and she came back with her apron full of carrots. Oh, a good stone soup. Do you see how the soldiers are all using their swords to slice them up? A good stone soup should have some cabbage, said the soldiers. But no use asking for what you don't have. Oh, I think I could find a cabbage or two somewhere, said Marie. And she came back with those cabbages that she had hidden under her bed. If only we had just a bit of beef and a few potatoes. Oh, this soup would be fit for a king. Well, the peasants thought about that, and they remembered their potatoes that they had hidden under quilts, and that beef that they had hung in their cellar. They ran to fetch them. A king's soup. Oh, soup fit for a king. Sighed the soldiers, and they stirred in the beef, and they stirred in the potatoes. They had to be peeled, they had to be chopped. They all pitched in. You know what would make this soup perfect? Would be a little bit of barley seed and a cup of milk. Too bad we don't have any barley. Oh, what a wonderful thing that would be. Well, the peasants brought their barley they had hidden in their loft. They brought their milk from down in the well, and the soldiers stirred the barley, and they stirred the milk. At last that soup was ready. All of you shall taste, the soldiers said, but first we must have a table. How can we sit and eat with no table? Great tables were placed in the square, and all around the villagers brought lighted torches. It was beginning to be dark. Such a soup. Oh, how good it smelled. Oh, that was fit for a king. But then the peasants talked among themselves. How can we have such a fine soup with no bread and no cider to drink? Soon a banquet was spread, and everyone sat down to eat. Never had there been such a feast. Never had the peasants tasted such soup. And fancy that. Soup made from stones. They ate and they drank, and they ate and they drank, and after that they danced far into the night. They had a wonderful time. And at last they were tired, and then the three soldiers asked, "Is there not a loft in someone's barn for us to sleep in?" "Oh, let three wise and splendid gentlemen sleep in a loft. Indeed not. You must have the best beds in the village." The first soldier slept in the priest's house. The second soldier slept in the baker's house. And the third soldier, well, he slept in the mayor's house. Of course there was room for them. And in the whole morning, the whole village gathered in the square to say goodbye. "Many thanks for what you have taught us," the peasant said. "We will never grow hungry. Not now we know how to make soup from a stone." "Oh, it's all in knowing how," said the soldiers. And off they went down the road. And there the villagers, and they said, "Such men, they don't grow on every bush. Imagine that. They came to our house and taught us how to make soup from a stone. And now we can pretend to make soup. We can act this out. Maybe you like chocolate in your soup. Maybe you like candy in your soup. What kind of soup would you like to have with your stone? Thanks for coming to Teacher Heather's Story Time.